Hey Shorty, can you keep the crunching down a little bit? We're trying to shoot some film over here. Make sure you sweep up behind yourself too. Well folks, due to some scheduling issues with Special Assistant number 1 there, Jack, and tides, and the fact that the sun wants to literally melt you at some points during the day, we're still waiting on the fiberglass Freedom machine there to get to its right time. We're looking around a tide of like 2 or 3 o'clock. You know, that would be really nice, but at the moment they're coming way too early or way too late in the day, and we got to go by park schedule sadly with this monster. So of course we have the 19 here, which of course we always have the 19. It's always awesome to have the 19. 19's awesome. But one thing we do have is this bag, and this bag is a new top for the Biesemeyer. So I think it's time we get this rag off and get this thing cleaned up and ready to go. Now it's also tide sensitive because we actually launch it at our own ramp, but being that it's at our own ramp, it doesn't matter if it's 4 o'clock in the morning. We can launch because I have the key. And screw the neighbors. But no, it's a lot more flexible. Just got to have a nice calm day. That's the whole key. I mean, this is a lake boat. This is not a screaming on the Chesapeake Bay and 4-foot chop boat. Like I said, we need to continue what we started there the other day and get this rag off of it, get it washed up. I got to do an oil change, you know, normal. And then I'll see if I can get this camera set behind it wet as possible with some exhaust water. Yeah, time to fire up the mini fiberglass Freedom machine. Yeah, we're thinking it's time. Yuck. That's how wet it's been for the last 2.5 years. It's insane. I just really like this boat. And I gave it to myself for my birthday present, because I was going to sell it. But I was a little afraid somebody was going to end up getting killed in it because it's a little weird. But if you look around, I kind of like weird. Looks like I need to make a new pad. I have plenty of this fabric, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. Not even sure why I have it there anymore. I mean, I do have this chain to hold it back, and I had it sitting on a trailer, taking it to a show one day, and this guy on a bridge over there on the eastern shore decided to lock up his brakes and drove the nose right in and just bounced off of it and knocked all the paint off it. Didn't actually hurt the nose any, but it knocked the paint off for like, I don't know, right around here, and I was literally just on my way to a boat show. So I put this pad on here just in case, but it looks like that needs to be replaced. Of course, we're always getting this separation line here. We have to fix that up a little bit. It's just nature of the beast when they put the cap and the hull together and just fiberglass them up. Sadly, we do have a tiny bit of blistering going on. That's something I wanted to get to this year. That's an easy fix for me because it's just a white paint I've got sitting right in the garage. Sand this down, and this was all from like a year that it just never stopped raining, and water collected right here. And then it was bad news. I mean, it gets a little worse, but I mean, like I said, this thing sat in the weeds for 25-30 years and sucked up a lot of moisture, so even when we run dryers in it, it's still drying it out, so to speak. I mean, I don't know if fiberglass gets soaked, but there's a few spots I want to fix. But at the moment, it's more about getting the oil changed. In our only could happen to Mark segment here, Taking this oil filter off reminded me of a story a few years ago. Got the motor in, everything was great. Oh, there it goes. And glad it was in a bag, huh? And I go to do an oil change, and for some reason I can't get the oil filter off. I mean, I'm struggling. Every millimeter is taking forever. And it feels like I'm like pulling an unthreaded or a cross-threaded bolt off the back way, you know? You're just like destroying everything. Long story short here, see this bolt that goes into the side of the bell housing? It actually just went just far enough to where it made contact with the side of the actual oil filter. And I mean, not enough to puncture it, just enough to like lay a small dent in it. You know, the side of it, just barely. And as I turned it out, I threaded the whole side of the actual oil filter, and I couldn't figure out what the hell. Finally, I got it out. I stuck my finger up here, and there was a bolt sticking out of the side of the actual housing here. So that's one of those segments that only can happen to Mark, because I thought these were actually closed, but apparently they're not. Alright, let's get some of that cleaned off before we pull the bag. Let's get the bag out. Now, bags are critical in this because you actually got to tilt the oil filter over on its side to get it out underneath between the bell housing and the stringers. So we use double seal Ziploc bags, and we make sure both seals are sealed. Alright, we got bag failure, we got a problem. Alright, let's see if we can just hold it up. Alright, there we go. Out of the boat. Ooh. We got real problems now. It's gotta go under that one. Damn. This is our little suck pump we've had for about 25 years. We kind of spared you this nightmare. You gotta prime it every time you use it, like right out of the box. But it works every time. But it's just a total mess. And this all goes in this bag, and then all that goes into that bag. And just like when you take off a filter, you have to slide it under the motor mount here. Slide it between the steering and the bell housing and stand it up straight and make sure there's nothing on it first. Stick it down inside and give it a pour. We're not going to fill it up a whole lot, but we don't want to leave it dry either. Filter in, rag retrieved. All set. Okay, with our oil changed, we're just going to leave our battery open for now. With all that pump running, and it hasn't been charged in so long. We're going to grab these keys right here. We're topped off on oil. It's time to light the fires. That would help if I actually turned on the fuel first. Let's do that again. That was odd. Everything kind of needs a tap to get started. Apparently even the starter. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. But I think there may be something wrong with one of my gas gauges. I'm not sure, because they usually have about the same amount of fuel in each tank. And that one looks extremely low. Maybe it just needs a few taps. But everything else, oil pressure's about 65. Got a nice smooth idle at about 700 RPMs. That's a big block Chevy back there. Big old cam. The temp got a little warm because I was having a problem with the hose connection. I always do. It takes a second to get it right. And we are charging. Now, I call that a successful day. And we're not even done yet. I do got a vacuum before I even wash. I don't want that stuff floating all around. But our carburetor seems to like the refresh that we did in the garage. Man, them hydraulic roller lifters, they're badass. You don't hear anything. I mean, I can hear the spinning alternator more than I can hear a valve. And when you listen to big blocks over there in that race boat, it's chatter, 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 and it's all because it's solid everything. DC always surprises me, and these motors were always good. They just get a bad reputation because they're Gen 5s. But they're 454s, they just don't have a fuel pump. Put a fuel pump in them, you got 454s. I bought this one for $400. I mean, it was you know, it needed total rebuild, but you know, a $400 core with all its pieces, even though most of them are now gone anyway, but you don't understand what I'm saying. I mean, I bought a Generac motor that had like 200 hours on it, Gen 5, 600 bucks. I mean, I could have just put it in a car like that and probably got another 150,000 miles out of it. But we also built it and put it in a Donzi 18, I believe we sold a while back. Insert picture here. It was a beautiful boat. Donzis for me are kind of little different. I don't know. And even this one, as small as it is, you sit in the boat. You feel like you're inside of it. Donzis, I always feel like I'm sitting on the boat. But I don't know. It's just personal preference. I mean, once you get babied with the 19 here, I mean, the Cadillac of all, you know, small sport craft. Yeah. I mean, you feel like you're like in a cockpit in that thing, you know, for a 19-foot boat. But nice. This boat seldomly disappointing. Yeah. Nice. So this is where the fun begins by the bucket load. And I mean literally by the bucket load. First I'm going to get this thing vacuumed out because I don't like the floating around and sticking to stuff and trying to wash it down, forget it. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to vacuum it out first and then I'm going to scrub it down. See that? It's been so long in between these boats that I looked at that and I thought, oh my God, I just left off a vent cover for the V-drive fluid. I had to go downstairs, look up some old pictures, and figure out that it's actually for the water cooling line. We just don't use it in this boat. But we have gone ahead and got ourselves looking pretty decent here. And we know there's issues. Like I said, there's a couple paint issues to deal with. But it's a whole lot better than it was. And being that it gets loused down with salt water or brackish water on a regular basis every time it seems to go out, it's held up quite well for a 60-year-old. So now I guess it's time to put a cover on because it's getting late and it looks like some clouds are moving in. Alright, lifers, we got our top on. Gotta say, surprises the hell out of us how different every one of these tops fit. And we keep buying C's, and some are real tight around the sides. Some you can actually, like this one, you almost can wrap it around the whole boat like a gift wrap. But our old friend has arrived. What did I say earlier in these episodes? Something about, oh, I don't know how often I'll be using this. This third appearance so far this year. Got that little Donzie over there I need to make dock lines for still. 4 appearances? Huh. I love this thing. If you want to live a race boat life through me, send your money to P.O. Box. Yeah, we're just kidding. All we need is likes, and we really would love some subscribers. And tell your friends about us. So, which will be cut out. And just like with the ends. Okay, here we go. And this one ends. La 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 la. So that's bad. I'm gonna do that again. Cut it in here. Yeah, let's wing it. I'm just gonna wing it. I'm gonna throw it out there. So that's what we'll cut in at because we don't keep saying so. Time to fire up the mini fiberglass sequence 3A. Okay, let's do the story. Let's have to cut it in right now.